Coming at you all the way from Arbitrum, it's the Magic Hour Podcast.
This is Alum.
Dionysus.
And Braiker. Produced by Digital Strategies Guild. Welcome everybody to another episode of Magic Hour. It's your host Braiker along with Alum. We're here with the LifeDAO team. We have Broke, TJ, and Tibor. Tibor?
Tibor.
Got
Almost
it.
got it. You almost got
All right.
it.
Well,
Hello.
you know what?
How's it
You
going?
know what? The good thing is that I can edit out all my misses. Broke, CJ, and Tibor are here from LifeDAO. We're excited to have you guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having
happy to be
us.
here.
Thanks for having us.
Right on. And so, just to kind of break the ice a little bit, maybe you guys can, each of you, introduce yourself and let us know, like, how you got into crypto, what caused you to discover it and kind of really dive in and start working on it. Broke, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I can start. So I got into crypto like maybe I guess 7 years, almost 8 years now. Right. So I used to do Forex a bit when I was younger. And so I was like just on this platform called like eToro. And then I saw like Ethereum itself. Like it was just this asset that suddenly just went from like $20 to like $90 itself in like I think a week or something. And I was like, shit, what is this that's just like flying? And then that's how I actually like got into like the crypto rabbit hole. I started reading out about Ethereum, got really, I guess, intrigued by it and like its potential itself. And then from there, then I went through like the ICO era, which was very, very interesting. A lot of like interesting concepts itself that never really came to pass. And then yeah. And I guess that's how I really got into crypto. And then like since then I just been in like the space like throughout itself.
Awesome. What about you, CJ?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit more of a new entrant into the space. I invested in Bitcoin back in 2017, kind of right before the bear market hit, and that really soured my experience to be down like 80+% in relatively short order. I revisited after a buddy of mine got into NFTs and Ethereum in early 2020, and it piqued my interest. So I jumped in kind of at that point, and it took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, I also stopped kind of paying attention for a bit, and then when NFTs were taking off in like early January 2021, like the beginning, so to speak, I started kind of paying attention again, and I didn't really dive in until August 2021, so I can relate to that. And Tibor, what about you?
Yeah, so I first got into crypto mid 2020. I think Ethereum was around $300, somewhere around there. Bought a little bit of it, not as much as I wish I did, but I kind of bought that, let it sit for a while, didn't really think about it. And then a good friend of mine actually showed me the Magic token and the treasure ecosystem. And Small Brains was my first foray into NFTs. And then from there, it's just been a very deep rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, it's deep. Definitely deep.
But yeah.
Yeah, so just one of my questions that I had for each of you is, are you guys working now? I mean, considering LifeDAO and stuff, is this what all of you guys are doing full time? Or are you guys doing anything else in Web3? Or do you guys have another job outside of Web3 itself?
So I am basically full-time Web3 now. So I actually quit my job like slightly before like I joined LifeDAO itself to really want to focus full-time on Magus, which is like the kind of like an educational platform for like the treasure ecosystem. But then of course like I got the LifeDAO offer, and then since then I just been like I guess working full-time mainly on LifeDAO, and then like spending some time on Magus itself, making sure like everything is operating and all.
Nice, awesome. So Magus is, I guess you could say what you do mostly full time now, considering everything.
Yeah, so Web3 is basically where I just do like where I just spend most of my waking hours at now. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, that's great, honestly. Yeah, especially during these times, it's definitely, I'd say, more calmer to be able to do work, and it definitely is a lot less havoc than it used to be during the bull run. So I guess things are a little bit softer, but still more consistent in terms of work. But what about you, CJ?
I still have a full-time job outside
Oh,
Web3.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do I do regulatory compliance for asset managers.
Oh, awesome. That sounds great, honestly. And Tibber or Ty again? I'm
Tibor.
kidding. Yeah, I'm also messing it up
Just
myself
just
right
think,
now.
Alan. Just think of like a boar and put a T in front of it.
T in front of it.
Yeah,
Tibor. There you
Tibor.
This is a story of my life, guys.
go.
Yeah, so I did have a full-time job, and then I got into the LifeDAO stuff, and now I don't have a full-time job. So this is kind of my gig. I'm doing this. I mod for Smallverse, and then I'm looking for some more opportunities. So that's where I'm at.
Right
I
on.
mean, yeah, that sounds awesome, honestly. Just being able to wake up and do whatever you'd like to do, and whatever, if it's your passion or if it's just a hobby, and being able to work on it full time. I don't really see anything that gets better to that. So that's great to hear for all three of you.
All right. So sticking with some questions about you guys, we're all in the play to earn kind of mindset. Magic is claims to be the Nintendo of Web3. What are some of your gaming influences, or kind of like the game you kind of think about when you're looking to either build or kind of be creative about play to earn?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. I guess the game that I played the most, right, since for over 10 years now is like Dota 2 or Dota last time,
Okay.
right? So that's the game I played the most. So ideally, I would want to see a P2E game able to reach a point where there is a mix kind of between like a MMORPG as well as like a competitive like PvP scene that could be in the form of a mobile or something else itself. So that is, I guess, like what I uh, visual visualize like the future of play to earn gaming be or on-chain gaming to be. However, I think that's still definitely like quite a fair bit away because of like the technology and all. I do think like right now, what I really like to see in the B2B space is really like just maybe like back to the basics of gaming itself, of like what make gaming fun. So it could even be like generally like much more simple games such as like 2D action platformers or really innovative games that have not been done in like say Web 2 itself. So for example, like what Butterfly is doing with like their main game itself. I think that's something that's very innovative and that can only be done in like say the Web3 space. So definitely I would like to see more games that really just that doesn't really that might take inspiration from Web2 gaming influencers, but more so than that, they try to create something new that's only possible in like the Web3 space.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that we definitely need more innovation, and I want to see more entertaining experiences, like you said. I definitely would enjoy MOBA. Although I have never played Dota 2, but I hear it's pretty awesome. I just can't commit to like 45 minutes to an hour of one single game. I got to be able to leave if I have to. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Yeah, I think as we get older, it becomes more difficult to dedicate 5-6 hours to a gaming session.
For sure.
I mean, I've played some Dota 2 myself, honestly, and it's pretty fun. I mean, I'm more of a League player myself. Well, I used to be back in the old days, but I definitely can see on the side that Breaker's coming from being able to commit yourself to a game for a whole 45 minutes. It definitely does become a challenge, especially as you get older, you have more responsibilities and more things to kind of pick up. So definitely becomes a hindrance. I'd say that.
Tibor, CJ, what about you guys? Or you not really gamers?
No, my influence has kind of grown up. I've been Diablo 2, World of Warcraft. I'm a
Right
tabletop guy,
on.
so I play Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh
Your
yeah,
Final Fantasies, Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Survival horror is another genre I'm a fan of.
nice.
Yeah, I was a big Super Nintendo guy. So like all those old cartridge games like, Super Mario, Super Adventure Island, Super Ghosts and Ghouls, Zelda.
Battletoads.
Yeah, all those. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Clay Fighters, like all those games. I think one thing that they did really well was having mini games sprinkled throughout the big full games. I like that in Web3 you can have the opportunity to make these giant RPG games and tie them on chain, as well as having customizable assets for players to form a better sense of identity. That's what most excites me, is being able to have a player that's more in line with something that you identify with, and being able to customize it and having it be your person that no one else can have.
I agree with that. I think that that's one of the biggest benefits. Like you have this, everybody's everybody's going to be unique at the end of the day, you know, like, and you're going to have your own set of items, your own appearance, and no one can copy that, and no one can even pretend to copy that. I
Right.
agree.
Yeah, like you get a Fortnite skin, it's super cool, but then you run up on someone who has the same one, and you're like, oh.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, I guess this is a question that even me and most of the listeners would kind of be curious about. How did you guys get involved with Treasure DAO and like the whole ecosystem? And did you guys jump straight into L2? Or were you guys on L1 first? Or how did you guys kind of just become aware? And what kind of got you guys into it?
Yeah, so I was mainly on L1 first, right? Then I didn't really use Twitter like up to like November last year. Before that, I was like mainly getting all my crypto like news or like content just from Reddit itself. So I decided to download Twitter, and then like just one of the first few tweets I saw was basically from one of the Treasure OGs about like Treasure DAO itself, about like what is the magic token, etc. So that intrigued me. Then I just started reading up more about what Treasure is doing, and then I think from there it was just like no turning back itself. Yeah.
Interesting.
No, yeah, honestly, even before honestly, before NFTs, I was never on Twitter. I never used to use Twitter before that, but ever since gone into just NFTs and just more dived deeper into crypto and just the whole mechanics of how everything works, honestly, Twitter became my best friend. I learned a lot from Twitter and just attending the spaces, and honestly, just gained a lot of information. And now Twitter is literally it's probably the only social platform I actually use other than just Discord. So honestly, kind of happy I started using Twitter apart from everything else.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. There's
crypto
like so
Twitter.
many great chats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, CJ?
Yeah, so the same buggy that actually got me into L1 NFTs also told me about Treasure, and he was talking about it for weeks before I actually got into it. And I was kind of in a place where like I was having trouble keeping track of the projects I was already investing in. So I was like, I can't possibly add an entire another ecosystem to the mix. But the night of the Bridge World white paper that dropped and caused kind of mass hysteria. He was like, "Dude, get in now, or like you're gonna miss the boat." So I did, and I sold a bunch of L1 assets. I'm happy I did that, and I hopped over, and I've been constantly reinvesting into the ecosystem, acquiring assets, and have no plans to go back to L1.
Nice. Honestly, that sounds awesome to hear. So for you, Bridge World was the first project that kind of introduced you to Treasure.
Yep.
Okay, okay. And I don't think I asked you that question, Broke. But was Bridge World also one of the first projects that kind of got you into Treasure as well, or was it Small Brains or something?
I think it was really just like the magic token itself. Cause like I guess when I invest in projects, I look at the tokenomics heavily, and
Mhm.
also just in general, I prefer to invest like in ecosystems or projects that make sense fundamentally itself. So I think what really got me into treasure is really just like the concept of using magic as this like as one of the building blocks of the ecosystem alongside treasure NFTs. And then
Mhm.
from there I learned about bridge world and then small verse itself. So yeah.
Nice. Honestly, no, that's cool. It's definitely good to have a lot of analytical, I guess, people to take that type of aspect of things, or definitely that perspective before getting stuff. I mean, I remember we used to have Flow State on the podcast as well, and he used to always come in with great analytical, honestly, theories and just perspectives about the ecosystem and just macros as well. So that was also nice. And what about you, Tibber? I think
Yeah.
that's if that's what it is. Again, I'm gonna keep messing it up this entire time, so apologies on that.
It's Tibor, but I don't mind.
Tibor, okay, we got it now. Tibor, all right.
It's all good.
I'll drill it in my head. Don't worry.
All good. Yeah, so like I said earlier, the same buddy that kind of taught me about Ethereum a couple of years ago was the same one that showed me Treasure. The avenue he showed me was Small Brains. So he's like, dude, check out these monkeys. They're going to have babies, and the babies are going to go get coconuts that have magic in them, and you're going to have a banana car, and you're going to have land, and they're building bridges on this land, and it was just completely captivating to myself and my entire family. So I would say for about maybe late November through March, that was one of the only dinner table topics of my entire family was Small Brains and Bridge World.
You're not
Wow.
the first person to tell me that their entire family was talking about this.
No, yeah, like we got together and watched the moon rocket launch like on the couch on the TV. It was insane.
That's awesome. That sounds so dope. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean,
So like when I look back, it was a very fun entrance to the NFT world. And I'm really glad that I started on L2 because the community is definitely a different breed.
that's
No,
awesome.
yeah.
I'm glad that you guys can get together as a family and do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty fun. It's made for some interesting conversation.
No, definitely. And I mean, for that, I guess being that kind of entry towards things, specifically being an L2, I definitely could say you probably got the better side of things within the ecosystem as well. Because I guess L1 and, just a bunch of other communities are definitely not on the same wavelength of what Treasure was when I first started and joined into it as well. Because I felt like Treasure was just a whole other different thing, and the community behind it was just honestly amazing. And it just kind of gave me a different sense of what NFTs and just the whole ecosystem kind of was correlating itself to be. And I definitely would say it was on the more better side and positive aspect of when I got into NFTs for it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely pretty special.
So, obviously, we're going to talk about LifeDAO in a second. That's why you guys are here. But outside of Treasure DAO, are there any other projects that you are working on currently or have worked on?
So not really. I'm just been working in the treasure ecosystem. I mean, I didn't really think that I would enter the crypto NFT space itself, honestly. Like that wasn't something, especially because I don't really code, right? Like I do have some technical knowledge, but not really a lot. So I didn't really think that I would really enter such a high tech space, I would say, or such a uh or the crypto industry. So but it was really because of like I think the treasure community and like all the builders within the space. Then from there I just started working on like trying to do what I can to really grow the treasure ecosystem, and then afterwards with all the LifeDAO things and all, then yeah, that's I'm just spending like basically all my crypto time just within the treasure ecosystem itself.
Cool. What about you guys, CJ, Tibor? Any other projects or just working on LifeDAO?
Nope, just life.
Just life. The
Yeah,
way
I'm
it is.
life and just all treasure stuff. I mean, I'm a mod in Small Brains, Small Verse now. I'd spend a significant amount of time on that as well. But yeah, between life and smalls, that's it for me. All treasure.
Right on. All treasure all the time.
Yes,
That's what we
sir.
talk about here at Magic. Magic Hour, I should say. Now,
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we can just get right into it then. So regarding LifeDAO, when did you decide, or I guess you could say discover, you were taking over LifeDAO from the Treasure DAO team?
For me, I think it was quite simple. I just submitted like an application, and then like Corral just reached out to me like shortly after, and then he asked whether I would be interested in I guess like joining the council and helping out helping with the I guess the transition itself. And then I felt like I mean I myself am a big holder of like souls itself and state of life. So and I was like and I had the time, so I was like, why not, right? So then from there, I just like accepted his offer, and then joined the council afterwards. Yeah.
Pretty much same story for me. Corel collecting applications, reached out, thought it would be a good fit. So it's like I was happy to help out.
And
I had a little bit of a different experience. So the same friend that got me into Smallverse NFTs actually works for Treasure now. I won't disclose his identity, but he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, man, I have this awesome opportunity for you to be involved in the ecosystem, like as a job." And I was like, "No way." Now, granted, I was in Utah backpacking, so that made it kind of interesting. But he's like, basically, you're going to be brought on the council for Life Project, and I'm like, what happened to life? And I kind of had a crash course in everything that had occurred in the days before. And then Corral messaged me, and it was history.
wow, that honestly that sounds pretty cool, honestly, especially backpacking. And I mean, Utah sounds, I mean, looks beautiful from what it is. So backpacking might have been honestly great for you too. But I don't know. Seems like this person's definitely giving you a bunch of treats and a lot of little goodies around us on the information everywhere. Kind of just putting you on from L2. That's great. That's great to hear, honestly.
He definitely has helped me get into this ecosystem a lot. I owe a lot of where I am to his advice and the things that he's helped me out with.
That's a great friend for sure. So, I mean, we might skip this question because I wrote like who led the charge. I was thinking that you guys were all together, but it seems like you were all brought together by Corel. So I'm gonna just go into the next question. Who's kind of like the product lead, whether it be a developer or a product manager for LifeDAO moving forward? Is it any of you guys?
Yeah, so it's kind of a team effort. I mean, we're going to be the council, hopefully long into the future, and each of us have kind of carved out our own practice areas, and we kind of run those areas. That said, we're all obviously involved on the day to day with everybody else's work. Like we're all active on Discord, we ping each other for questions, bounce ideas around, etc. But like principally, for instance, Frank is in charge of like our DeFi strategy and overall strategy. I help with overall strategy. I've been doing finance and accounting. Broke's kind of been taking care of the partnerships and acting as our corporate secretary. Tibor has been doing marketing and communications. Then Josh has kind of been doing that community engagement events. So it's an equal effort by everybody. Happy to say we do have a lead. Well, no, I wouldn't say a lead dev, but we do have a developer joining the team with the Arcane acquisition. So Mist will be joining us in the beginning
Oh,
of
awesome.
September. Yeah, so we'll have a little bit of developer knowledge there come on board, and we're looking to hire another one in house as well in the near term. We're interviewing.
Hit us up.
Yeah, if you're looking for work, hit us up.
Well, I mean, Arcane, from when we had him on, he seemed very knowledgeable about smart contracts and coding, and just seemed like a really great guy to have on any team. I thought it was really interesting that he was kind of developing Arcane all by himself, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I know that you guys wanted to talk a little bit about Arcane and how that came about, but thank you for sharing that piece.
Most of the people who were in Treasure DAO and heard everything that happened with, Seed of Life and everything before that, and prior to it kind of having its own type of rework, I'd want to call it kind of. And since you guys have taken over the LifeDAO project, what developments have you guys made, and like what interactions are available to like an imbued soul holder, or like again, just what more prior changes could we more see in the future, and what you guys have made at the current time right now as well?
Yeah, so kind of our long-term vision is to provide gaming and social experiences for all imbued soul holders. And some of that will take the form of in-house game development. We have Arcane coming on board. We have other kind of ideas in the pipeline that we're throwing around, including integrations in other ecosystem partner projects that enable imbued soul holders to either provide boosts or autonomous functions within their games. We also host weekly game nights, competitions, etc. So we try to get everybody involved.
Oh yeah, so to add on, if like you verify if you have an inbuilt soul itself and you verify your roles at like say collab land itself, you can actually sign up for I guess giveaway there for souls, and you also get exclusive access to Origins NFT analytics tool, which usually costs like about 1 or 2 ETH a month itself. So this
Wow, I didn't know that.
analytic tool is for it's just really for right now it's for L1 collections, obviously. So I think they will roll out support for L2 in the future, but basically, if you are into NFT trading, it's such a useful tool just to check on say what's the market conditions looking like.
Yeah,
So-
shout out actually to Jumpman for doing that for us. That was one of the first kind of use cases we had from Imbued Souls. He made sure to set us up with the Origins analytics very early on.
Big thank you for that. That's a huge thing to be able to offer our holders.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only finding out about that now. That's pretty awesome. I'm about to take my imbued souls and get connected. Check
No,
that
that
out.
is really cool, especially considering how much people had to pay for just the whole Origins server and just the access towards it. I'm pretty sure it was upward at previous during bull run market times. So it's almost touching around 5 ETH as far as I believe.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
roughly
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
even on their website, it's like $5,000 to $8,000 a month for servers to have that service.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
especially how you guys are offering that to the soul holders, it definitely is a big leverage and definitely is a very good utility to have. So that's very interesting, honestly.
Yeah, it's been very. A lot of people have been using it since like the commoner collection drop come out as well, and now that Trove also has support for L1, so I think we will probably see being used like much more often now.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, on your website, you guys have a roadmap, which I have to say is quite detailed, and I appreciate that because some other projects that we've researched or spoken to kind of, don't have too much to their roadmaps or are kind of flying by the seat of their pants. So I have to say that your roadmap was very well done. And we're going to ask a couple questions related to that roadmap. And we'll also link that obviously in the show notes. We say that all the time. But, you talk about these harvester wars and that LifeDAO is uniquely positioned to become a tier 1 player. Since the harvesters have now been released, harvester parts are being traded. Do you still believe that that's the case, and why do you believe that LifeDAO is uniquely positioned to be that tier 1 player?
So one of the benefits we had kind of going into the project, and is fortunate that harvesters were getting released kind of in the near future, was we had a very liquid treasury. So we're able to leverage that along with some revenue that we've made in the interim to kind of amass a pile of assets to be able to go, be front footed into entering harvesters. So we also formed a kind of strategic sub council of community members that helped us formulate a strategy, source harvester parts, before they were really being traded on Trove. So we had a bunch lined up, and then we were able to enter the harvesters. Got, I want to say, right around 1.65 million magic invested in the harvesters right now, which I
Wow.
don't know if that's second place after Battlefly, but it's close, considering it's only a 12 million capacity and they have a large chunk of that.
Yeah, to add on to that, we also have like these. We also work together with Round for the harvesters itself. So I'm not sure if you've seen like that we have partnered up with them for the harvesters. So we managed to like borrow from some of their assets itself as so to actually like ensure that like going to the harvester, we will be like one of the definitely like key players and be able to compete against like say uh I guess the other bigger players like mainly like such as Butterfly.
Is Magic Dragon DAO still in there in the mix?
As far as I believe personally, I think they still are, but I believe Battlefly's flywheel systematics APY believe it's just significantly larger. So I'm not too sure if MDD is kind of a lot of in the talks as of right now. I think.
Yeah,
But
they're
again,
they're
don't
still
quote me on that.
involved. MDD is still involved, and we've been coordinating with them. So it's kind of not like David versus Goliath when it comes to Battlefly, but it's like the Davids versus Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been coordinating with them on strategy.
Cool.
And I mean, how could I mean, I guess this question was kind of answered a little bit, but if you guys could elaborate more on how this necessarily correlates directly towards LifeDAO in general.
LifeDAO's focus is to build a sustainable revenue stream, to which we can kind of build like fund ecosystem integrations and game development. So participating in the Harvester Wars helps us get there via the yield. And eventually down the line, we kind of have a 2-phase program where we're going to allow community staking via most likely like a token passive yield mechanism, but there's going to be more that comes out around that at a later date. But the kind of the product outline is available on the website.
Great, honestly, no, that sounds good. As far as I believe, I mean, I've been hearing this kind of on Twitter a little bit more as well, and I've seen it in the Discords and stuff like that. About there is a Discord PvP game that's coming out, and as far as I believe, that's one of the first PvP games that we'll actually be seeing within Treasure Towers. That's coming towards my knowledge, and who's developing the game, and how's the whole systematic going to work towards it, and how do you expect players to interact with it as well?
Yeah, so it will really be starting off as like a very simple Discord game itself. We are working with an external Discord developer to help develop this game. And so right now we're actually in the beta testing phase where we are working together with the community members who have signed up for the beta test to really polish out this Discord PvP experience where they will be able to really, I guess, send their souls into the Colosseum, and then there's a whole concept of them where they are able to battle, and then if they die, they are kind of like out of the season. So it will be like a seasonal approach where souls will try to get on the leaderboard, and then of course if you top the leaderboard, you're able to get prizes and all. So we do take an approach, a very like community heavy approach where we let them co-develop this game with us. So originally for the first beta test, we had like this just very simple skeleton or framework of the Discord bot. And then we just let the community play around with the bot and see what is it that they like about it, what is it that they dislike about it, uh, and whether they have any feedback or suggestions. And then from there, like we collate these feedback, suggestions, see what is possible to be done or not with the dev. And then right now the dev is just like working on implementing all of these changes. And then from there, we'll have our second round of beta test to make sure that everything runs smoothly and add in some final feedbacks before we'll release it to the public itself.
And again, this is going to be played within Discord itself, as far as I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, this will be played within Discord, and I guess depending on the popularity of the game itself, from there we will see whether we want to develop it into like a web app version where it's just much more simple, where the souls can itself really just connect their wallet and just from there interact through the web app, and it could have like much more interactive features. But for now, we are just doing it through Discord. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's a very unique approach towards it. I feel like a lot of when it comes to just PvE and just how the whole gameplay mechanics are working, everyone wants to just kind of think of it as just traditional platform, traditional sequence towards it, and just play your regular games. However the I guess you could say the mode or the type of theme must be towards that game. And I feel like using the Discord approach, I feel like it might actually be very interesting, and in the end, might actually be playing itself very, very well. So I'm honestly excited to see how that honestly goes out.
Yeah, there are whole ecosystem built around Discord games such as like Royal Rumble, or even like there are some like Pokemon games, etc. So I think for like text-based games itself, Discord is actually a pretty good platform. The only issue is probably like verifying like the NFTs itself, because there's kind of like a security issue whenever it comes to like when you think of on-chain things. So I would say that's probably just like the main hurdle itself.
Actually, really interesting how important Discord is to this ecosystem, wouldn't you say? Like
Yeah.
what if
Yeah.
what if they like started charging everybody to use Discord, or completely like change the way you interacted with Discord, where it would affect like the NFTs? It seems like it's like so ubiquitous with Web3, even though it's not a Web3 program in any way, shape, or form. I wonder how that plays out in the future,
And
right?
honestly, yeah, it's kind of shocking to see how, how it just kind of went hands in hand together with each other with, the profile picture. And then you have like, the banners on your Discord, and then just the bios and just the whole servers, just the memes, everything just kind of played itself right together and just kind of held each other's hands. And honestly, now that I think about it, I do find that very, very extremely surprising on how well Discord just worked with everything, and how like in need the NFT ecosystem and to just use this platform itself. But at the same time, how they just cohesively work so perfectly well together. I just don't see any other platform working better than Discord itself towards this type of, honestly, just I guess you could say, in form of work.
Yeah, and one thing that's really extraordinary about Discord is the way that you can tier access of your server based on, either the NFTs the person has through Collabland. You can do the rarities of the NFTs the person has through Collabland. You can manually assign roles to have things like team chats, for like the council, for example. We have chats in the Discord, as most Discords do, that are only viewable by us and only accessible by us. All those unique feature sets are super important. And, the more and more I research into it, there's a lot of Web3 projects that don't even use Slack or anything for like internal team communications. They keep it strictly on Discord. I mean, you have voice chat, you can have video chat. It is a very versatile app.
I'm actually happy that you brought that up too, because I feel like it's really interesting that anyone would even use Slack if they're already using Discord as well. What benefit does Slack really have over Discord at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we use Discord a whole lot, and then Broke is the wizard of using Notion for kind of keeping our backlog tidy and sorting out what work needs to be done and keeping track of meetings. But other than that, everything's primarily in Discord.
That's the second time this week I've heard of Notion. This is one of those no code type of pieces of software, right?
Yes, it does have a lot of integrations with other popular backlog management software like Jira and
Mhm.
things like that too.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into this more. I was talking with these developers at this Coda networking event, which I don't isn't even Web3 related, but this Coda software kind of replaces spreadsheets where people were using them for like matrices and project management and stuff like this. And we can remove this from this conversation, but it's interesting how this kind of no code stuff is starting to permeate into what we're doing. And I wonder when we'll start to see no code smart contract platforms start getting developed.
I'm sure they're coming.
I mean, they have to be, right? There's just too much Web3, not enough developers at this point. On your roadmap, you guys also talked about seeding a Magic USDC LP. Is that still in the plans? Are you planning on doing that through Sushi Swap? If so, or are you gonna get on board with the hopefully forthcoming Treasure / Magic AMM that we've kind of seen being hinted at?
Yeah, so that's actually launched already.
Oh, it has been?
Yeah, we launched it back in, I want to say mid-July.
Oh,
It's on
great.
it's on Balancer.
Okay.
So kind of our thoughts around that was before the USDC Magic liquidity pool that we launched, the only asset you can really exchange for Magic was Ethereum. So anyone that kind of wanted to go from risk on to risk off, to go from Magic to USDC or Magic to another stablecoin, really required 2 routes through an LP. So you're paying double fees. So by taking that second route out of the equation, you're saving a couple bucks for every transaction and LP fees to get where you need to go. And kind of as a secondary benefit is theoretically, I guess it would lower the Magic's dependency on ETH a little bit. So maybe you'd see the beta start to decouple and cause a little bit of price stability. But I think our pool would have to be a whole lot bigger before that's realized.
Right.
But yeah, no, we've been launched since July. Our annualized our volumes about $3.5 million. So we've
That's
been
pretty good.
pleased so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see over the last couple of weeks, you've kind of seen a couple days with some pretty heavy trading volume.
Yeah, and it's a fairly low value pool right now. So once people, I guess this is kind of our cue to kind of get marketing on it and get people to LP some money into it.
Mm-hmm.
As it gets bigger, it'll allow for bigger trades and the volume will tick up more.
Yeah. What? Do you happen to know what the APY is on that particular one?
Off the top of my head, I do not know what it currently is, so I don't want to say anything and be wrong.
That's fair. That's perfectly fine.
And I guess one of the other questions we had was one of your main operations. I mean, we kind of touched upon it earlier as well, was partnership integrations, and how you guys also said you guys would be talking to more L1 projects and more ecosystems on L1 as well. And are you kind of able to just talk more and just in depth about maybe possibly what those projects might be, or what type of path you guys are kind of following towards, and which type of integrations you're kind of looking towards, or how that might kind of correlate to the PvP games that you guys are also developing, or just kind of touching up on any of that?
Yeah, so I guess before we took over LifeDAO, right? So Treasure original plan for the souls were like kind of like SC-based character primitives of the Treasureverse. So I guess in short, it's kind of like composable, playable characters itself. So, and that is something that we definitely find merit in, and that's something we want to continue to develop itself. So when I reach out to partners, it's usually either looking for some whitelist itself, so to distribute our souls, or basically to get them to integrate our assets into their game itself. So right now, for most of those partners that are planning to integrate inbuilt souls into their game, are mainly other games that are based on the Arbitrum ecosystem, right? So we also have like a partnership integration framework for our partners to refer to, and then from there we also And there's a form there where basically those who are interested in integrating inbuilt souls into their game will be able to really reach out to us. And then from there, we'll just really spark a conversation about how will this integration look like and what is the support that the LifeDAO team will be able to provide them in return for integrating the souls into their game. And also like how can we really plan for like a long-term and sustainable integration that will be beneficial to both parties. Because we don't really just want to have like integrations that's like very short term where they just integrate souls into our game and then like that's the end of it, and then like we just benefit by getting some utility, they benefit by getting some I guess players itself, and then like that's the end of the integration. We prefer to go for really like long-term sustainable integration where there will be really be like a much more future crossovers between like both ecosystem, both gaming ecosystem or projects itself. So I would say right now, so obviously Arcane was actually one of our first partner itself, where they will use like inbuilt souls in their game as like a companion, which it will be one of the core, really one of their core gameplay aspect. But obviously now that we have acquired Arcane, some of this might change where souls are likely to have I guess a deeper integration than previously planned. So Castle DAO by Venture is also integrating inbuilt souls into their game. So they will be, I think this should be active really sometime this week or next itself. And then we'll probably just make an announcement about it. But you'll basically be able to use inbuilt souls in their game, in their card game itself or their deck battler game, as well as Seed of Life, I believe, from what he has told me. And then of course some of the other partners that we're in talks with, which are definitely like really committed to some form of integration of inbuilt souls in their game are like Knights of the Ether, Realm, and also Rough and Reborn. So right now these details are not finalized yet, so I don't really want to release too much details on what these integrations will look like. But I am definitely like very excited for these integrations to like go through and eventually happen and basically continue to build like a really long-term partnership with like these other cartridges as well.
Wow.
No, that sounds pretty awesome, and a lot of great projects. I mean, if you're an avid listener of the Magic Hour podcast, you know that we've had Castle Dow on before, and we talked about it before, and we spoke with Venture. We're also going to have, we're trying to arrange for Jonah from Realm to come on as well. That's something we'll probably discuss with him also, but that's really great, and it's one of the things that I've really kind of enjoyed about the Treasure DAO ecosystem is that everybody wants to work together and collaborate together. And, I think that it's really important for the success of all these projects. And at the same time, there are so many projects. So I think it's really good that everybody's kind of working together.
Yeah, I agree. I think the collaboration aspect is one of the really like, I guess, attractive point for the Treasure DAO ecosystem, especially for other builders. Because if as long as you're a builder within, like say the GameFi space and you're interested in getting the treasure, you reach out to the treasure team and then you reach out to like the other builders in the space. All of them will be so willing to help you and to bring you into this ecosystem and just like really look out for you and really like share insights on what they have tried, what is good, what is bad, etc. So I think right now most games are still developing itself, but as we start to see most of this development come into play or being executed with proper games being released, we'll really see the network effect of all of this collaboration start to really snowball. And I guess we'll just see projects growing so fast due to all the help from or due to the collaboration within the ecosystem itself.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think that you captured it very nicely. You guys mentioned acquiring Arcane. I know we talked about it a little earlier. How did that come about? Whose idea was it? And was it a long time in the making, or is it just like kind of like, you know, happened over a weekend? Tell us more about how that happened.
Yeah, so we had been socializing about potentially acquiring a project for some time. And Broke had mentioned that he had met Mist or knew Arcane or knew of Arcane, and maybe he can give a little bit more background about how he kind of discovered it for us. But we reached out to Mist. We said, hey, would you be open to kind of partnering where you can come under the Life umbrella and become, an in-house dev for Life? We'll acquire the Arcane IP. You can keep working on Arcane with the support of the LifeDAO, in terms of funding, in terms of resources, in terms of a platform to be able to market, because after Bridge World and Smalls, Life is kind of the third Genesis treasure project. So for better or for worse, given our storied past, everyone is aware of Life in some capacity, which we think we can kind of use to our advantage. So he thought that'd be interesting. So we spoke back and forth probably for 6 to 8 weeks, kind of before we got comfortable with each other to kind of progress toward like an offer stage. And there was negotiation, blah, all that kind of boring back end business stuff. And we came to terms. So we announced it, I guess, last week. He's set to be onboarded as soon as the governance proposal passes, and he'll hit the ground running. He'll keep developing Arcane with the support of us. We have the ability to help him market, which you can't really do. Like, it's hard for him to do all of that stuff by himself in terms of building Arcane, marketing Arcane, dealing with all of like the operational aspects of running what's effectively a business. So we think there's some synergy there.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, yeah, I think any person who's solo running a project and trying to do everything is, they've got their work cut out for them, and kudos to them if they can. Like, I can't believe how long Jonah was doing Realm from what I could tell by himself. It felt like months. Same thing with Venture. I feel like he has like a 2-person team, and they had been working like even before Treasure started. So, it's probably difficult, a lot to do, but if they for people who can make it happen, more power to them.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I think they're especially, I know Venture too, and both him and Misk have such like a knowledge and background in the developing space that they can, I think, do everything kind of soup to nuts. But Mist was very happy to hear that he didn't have to deal with the boring parts and could just keep building Arcane into something awesome.
Yeah, his boring parts are exciting parts, so it fits really well. One thing I would like to echo upon too is the fact that, Mist has built so much on Arcane by himself. I think it really opens up some exciting opportunities for, us to help him build something even greater. We're very excited to start working with him on this and take it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. I think that he's done a lot with what he's already built, and I was always excited about the LifeDAO project. I think that the story was really good. I like the idea of the different kind of skills that you could develop based on where you came from and where your family was from. I mean, it is something that I hoped would pan out. So I'm very happy to see that you guys are kind of making good on not what was promised, but on kind of developing it into something that people are going to want to care about and going to want to use their NFTs for. It sounds really exciting. But what do you think we can expect from LifeDAO in the future? Anything that you guys are working towards that we haven't covered yet?
No, I think we've covered most everything we're actively involved in, kind of in public. We decided very early on as a council that we don't want to make a habit of leaks or alpha or anything, since that tends to build up these unrealistic community expectations. So we're just kind of operating in the shadows until we're ready to announce something or release something, and then everybody will know about it at the same time.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen, it makes sense.
No, that definitely is fair for sure.
You were going to say something, Tibor?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, if the leak that we'll give you is we're a team that's working very hard on this project, and we're very bent on seeing it succeed. So take that as you will.
Driven. Bent is the probably the wrong word.
No, he meant
Hey
hell
man,
bent.
I bought Seeds of Life for a lot of money too. Okay.
Yeah, bought the top. Oh yeah, just to divert on the USDC Magic Pool, the APR is actually 67% right now,
Oh, that's
which
pretty
is
good.
yeah, it's very high. In comparison, the Magic ETH LP is about 53% itself. So yeah,
There definitely
So
is a
67.
gap.
And
Thank
the
you, Brooke,
pool
for pulling
is
that.
there's about $125,000 in the pool right now. So it can actually take considerable already like bigger trades. I think originally when it started, even like $1,000 trade was like there would be like quite a bit of slippage, but right now you could do like $1,000 trades like easily without worrying about slippage. So definitely like if you want to you're like swapping from USDC to Magic or Magic to USDC, you definitely can save by using this balancer USDC Magic pool itself.
Good to know. Good to know. I mean, I might dive into it. I'm thinking about picking up another bag of Magic myself. I think we're gonna see a nice little bump in the coming weeks now that the harvesters are launched and people are starting to get into it again. I think after the summer's over and the merge happens, I think we're gonna start to see some real traction in this ecosystem. I think that everybody's kind of getting excited again. What do you guys think?
I very honestly, just personally on my point of view, I very much agree with you as well. Honestly, I feel like just honestly, just from external behavior side of things, I feel like this was kind of one of the first seasons where I guess people were really going out and traveling. I have personally myself as well. I've seen a lot more people travel this year in the summer because I guess COVID was kind of slowing down now, and everyone really got their time to just go outside and spend time off the computers and stuff like that. But I feel as we tend to see cooler weathers kind of tune in, we start to see winter kind of pitch itself in. I mean, depending obviously where people are on in the world, I feel like it's definitely going to set some people indoors, and we can definitely see more attraction coming into everything just coming just from an external behavior aspect. But then obviously we also have 2.0, and then obviously LifeDAO and all the other projects are going to keep building during these times as well. And we're definitely going to see more exciting stuff come during those times. So I honestly feel like it's going to buckle some things down soon for sure. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what the release of Arbitrum Nitro does to our ecosystem as well. I think that's a pretty major catalyst that some people have maybe overlooked a little bit, but that's going to be a big deal for us too.
Yeah,
That's
that's in
right.
2 days, isn't it?
Yup, not even 2 days
Well,
now.
yeah, not even. Yeah, even less than that. So that's really exciting, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I've-
excited for that.
So interestingly, I guess in the TradFi markets, and I have to check for crypto, but I assume it kind of follows the same seasonality. Like late summer is always a drag because there's no volume and nothing really happens. And then like kind of that school season hits and volume picks up and everyone gets really excited. So to me, it's interesting that like Piga time like the release of Harvesters for the end of summer. We have RB Nitro coming into September. Like there should be a couple other exciting things happening on the treasure side in the near future. So it might culminate into like this perfect storm where volume starts to pick up and Arbitrum starts seeing some inflows, along with like some really exciting treasure headlines that'll kind of lift the whole boat.
I like hearing that.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, no, no.
YOR.
This is
BYOR.
definitely not financial advice on this podcast. We only just talk about what's going on, and you make your own decisions. We're not responsible. But yeah, anything else you guys want to share or talk about or mention? It doesn't have to be about LifeDAO. It can be about anything. It could be about life in general.
I guess I would just say developing games itself is not easy, especially if you are building like on-chain games. Which was why like Arcane was like such an like when I found out about Arcane was like I really love it because it was fully on chain and means like he was committed to building everything on chain itself. But there are definitely like hurdles around that. I do think probably around the end of this year or the start of next year is when we start to see a lot of the developed games coming to life, such as I think one of the newer projects would be like the Beacon itself, and then Ruffian Reborn, where they actually have gameplay and they have been developing for a really long time itself. Knights of the Ether, for example, is another game I'm very interested in, right? And I would think most of these games will be coming to life, say, really at the end of the year or even say at the start of next year itself. And then I think that's when we really start to see the treasure ecosystem start to explode when all of these like games itself or like really interactive games start coming into like the ecosystem and players start to be able to get a proper gaming experience instead of like the current one where there's nothing wrong with it, but the current one is really just like a lot more click and play, which might not be very exciting for most players who are used to like I guess games in the Web2 space where it's really much more interactive and much more dynamic itself.
I agree with that, and I think that the current play to earn gaming experience leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm hoping that within the next year or two we see some really interesting stuff come out of this. But in the short term, I have a question for you guys, and maybe you know the answer to this. But can you can you play Magic and generate some real income these days? Or is it not there yet? I've been thinking about this.
So like for Magic games itself, or
Yeah, just playing in the Magic ecosystem, not like doing your traditional trading, but just kind of like earning tokens, maybe selling them here and there. Do you think that you can make some real income here, or are we not there yet?
I think so for Bridgeware itself, I think is right now because of the harvesters itself, crafting is very, very profitable. Like I would say the first few crafters probably earn like over 10k magic just selling all the parts itself. With treasure prices going up, questing is also like much more profitable itself. So I would say like the economic games kind of like Bridgeware and Realm right now are it's pretty profitable. Like I guess depending on where you are, it could actually be an income, although it wouldn't really be like stable or reliable income. And I think this would just improve once like Nitro come online and like questing gets cheaper, etc. So and then I guess for the other games, I know Tales of Illyria you can earn Elm now as well, and you can swap it for Magic after. So I guess that's another source of revenue you can get within the ecosystem. And I think this will slowly start to develop itself. But I think the long term trend for play to earn games is that not everyone will be able to like make a living off the game itself. It's probably just like the top players, like the top percentile of players that will be able to do so. If not, like it wouldn't really be sustainable if say everyone is just like making thousands a month just from playing games. Such as like when Axie started, everyone was earning so much. And it was because there was so much money coming to the space. But like once like this flow of money just stopped, then the whole ecosystem will start to slowly crumble itself, or like basically everyone's source of revenue will start to drop itself because there's no more new money coming in. And it's not really a sustainable way of building something for the long term.
I don't disagree with you. I think you're very astute in what you just said there, Broke. Which is ironic. Your name is Broke. But I also think that I think that or what I expect this whole play to earn model to turn out to be is just kind of like a supplemental income for everybody, and it'll be more automated, in my opinion, at least, where it'll just be kind of this extra money that you can have working for you on the side if you're smart enough. It's not going to be a whole lot, like you said. Only the top players are really going to be like making this a full-time job or living off the returns, but extra pocket change here and there never hurt anybody, and I think it would be really good for any economy. It'll just
Yeah.
give more people to put money into back into whether it be Web3 or just regular society. I think it could be a benefit.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. It's going to be, you're still definitely able to earn some money itself. Just, of course, it's not going to be like life-changing amount, like once the industry matures. But it's definitely better than like the Web2 gaming space right now where like you can play, for example, I played Dota 2 for like over 10 plus years, right? And I spent so much money collecting like all of these game assets. And at most I can sell them on like the Steam marketplace for like less than 100 Steam US dollar. So like all of this time, effort, and basically commitment and money spent is basically gone itself. But I think the Web3 space, if you actually spend that much time itself and just like gather all these assets, it will be worth much more. And you'll definitely feel like your time and commitment spent in the game is better rewarded.
Yeah. CJ, Tibor, any final thoughts from you guys?
No, I mean, I think Brooke kind of hit the nail on the head. I think, like you said, like a lot of it's going to be jurisdictional basis because what's a quote unquote income for me or you might be different for somebody else.
True.
But in terms of you have to be careful when you're building kind of these gamified yield farms or the Axie model because like there was a guy called Charles Ponzi that engineered that system, and once the new money stops coming in, usually it's the most recent bag holders that kind of get the hose. So I think it's actually safer and healthier for the entire eco if everybody has kind of set expectations and it becomes like a fun first ecosystem, and then kind of the yield or the money that you make is a byproduct of that versus the main driver. Because if that's the main driver, then you have to constantly be ahead of the competition, or it's not sustainable, right? You're going to collapse.
I agree with you, CJ, and I think the yield is definitely going to be the most important piece of this, because I think what's going to happen is we're just going to be earning yield in whatever we do, and the yield is what's going to be important at the end of the day, more than kind of like you said, just like trying to make money. It's just, earning that little bit of extra that, you can say that you feel good that you're not just like wasting your time or, not really doing much with your investment. You're actually earning some interest in a very positive way, not based on just an arbitrary number that a bank assigns to you because they can.
Right. I mean, I think if you're opportunistic, there will be like short spurts of kind of like these high ROI plays that you can
Right.
take part in, but I wouldn't make that the baseline expectation.
Right. Well, guys, this was a lot of fun. It was great to hear from you guys. I'm very excited about LifeDAO. I think, I definitely need to get on there so I can get access to the Origins access, as well as kind of look into, what's going on with Arcane as well. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming onto the pod with us. I think there's a lot of people who are interested in what's going on and may not have had a chance to keep up with Discord. So I think you guys did a really good job.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Honestly, Braiker kind of just said it all, honestly, from my side. But appreciate you guys being on here and giving us your thoughts, and honestly, what to see what happens with LifeDAO. Honestly, as we said in the episode, the after the whole rework, I'd like to call it the whole rebranding and everything. I definitely feel like there's going to be a lot of new things, and we just discussed it as well. And honestly, I'm just excited to see what's going to come and how things are going to play off this coming winter. So excited to see what you guys build.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having us on, man.
Second, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And that concludes another episode of Magic Hour, friends. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you can listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Hour Pod. All the links are found on our link tree, which is in the show notes. From all of us, we appreciate your support for Bridge World.